Going over to the Cultural Proud podcast, you have an LA protester saying, oh yeah, we actually, a lot of us don't have jobs. This is Brusher's thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, the LA protester says the quiet part out loud. No one in Los Angeles has jobs, and that's why they're protesting Trump all day. What a sad, miserable life spending your days protesting things because MSNBC told you to. Now, fascinatingly enough, I actually didn't think this was a liberal gal because she does not have the, what I thought was obligatory cow ring. Pretty rare to see someone without that these days. She also does not have short blue or pink hair. Oh my gosh, I almost feel bad for the big hair industry. Pretty sure they've been propped up by the left the past couple years, but without too much further ado, I shall play it right here.
Trump is so dumb for pissing off LA because we don't have jobs. Like, none of us have jobs. We have like COVID level amounts of free time to protest, my dude. He's so dumb.
I mean, Lord only knows how many government subsidies she's getting or handouts. Or maybe she's a paid protester, which we have seen many times, historically speaking, people that are paid copious amounts of money just to cause a ruckus. Now, I thought this would go more viral. Maybe everyone's like, well, no duh, they have no jobs. That's why they can protest all day. It's got about 131,000 views and 5,000 likes. And it does always, I mean, it makes sense in terms of all these protests are like on a random Tuesday afternoon. And I don't think anyone with a job is going to say, hey, boss, can I use a day of PTO or pay time off to go hold a poster board and yell and cry all day? I would love to see statistics of the breakdown of, in terms of weekday protesters, how many of them do not have a full-time job? It's one of those things where, I mean, maybe I'm also a workaholic. So, I mean, I'm working minimum, 90 hours a week. I mean, I can't fathom having so much free time that you just go and protest. And again, I think protesting is, it's a very important thing. Obviously, one of our core values, Americans, for freedom of expression, freedom of speech, to peacefully protest. And I mean, if there's something that's vital, if I do that on a Friday or there's a little downtime, I'd probably go. But like an average weekday, like, oh yeah, no one has jobs. How are you affording to eat, or your rent, or your car insurance? Well, let's be honest, they probably not smart enough to have car insurance. But yeah, I always wondered who's funding these people. How do they just not have jobs and protest all day? Now, going to the main comics section, first one's coming to us thanks to Planet of Memes, or as I call him, Planet of Memes. Though today I might say alleged Planet of Memes because there's no memes. Your profile is, that's just bad advertising. Your profile is Planet of Memes, and yet there's no meme. Now, this alleged Planet of Memes says, quote, these are the able-bodied losers on Medicaid and food stamps, getting 582 likes, which, yeah, some politicians are irate that might actually be requirements to get government benefits. Like, if you're able-bodied, you'd have to work. Paul Zupa says, quote, she's a cautionary tale for anyone who continues to digest legacy media propaganda, getting 31 likes. Democrat Media TM says, quote, leftists are the most unhinged, vile, insufferable, and toxic species on earth. Changed my mind, getting 21 likes. Mirthful Moments says, quote, simple question. It's a meme of the Mexican flag. It says, quote, if Mexico is so great, why are you here? Getting 35 likes. Great question. The New Mexican Ranger says, quote, they're on government benefits. Cut them off and protests stop. Getting 72 likes, which I think that would greatly decrease the amount of protesters. But again, they're also paid protesters as well. They would probably still be out there. Again, I think that would significantly decrease the amount of random protesters, or, protesters going on a random weekday. But yeah, there are still people that are getting paid to do it. The Vault has a picture of Eric Swalwell. Says, I bet Eric Swalwell would hate it if you posted this picture of him and Fang Fang. And he's, of course, Democrats didn't remove him from any of his things or his responsibilities or his with his special assignments, even though he was dating a Chinese spy, getting 25 likes. Texas Gunpowder Party? Interesting party. I haven't heard that one yet. It's just a picture of looks like a guy from the 1950s, a cartoon. He has a sombrero and a pipe and says, I don't really care, Jose, getting 21 likes. Jason says the resemblance is uncanny. Is a picture of the girl juxtapositioned with the picture of Frodo from Lord of the Rings when he looks obsessed with the ring, getting 8 likes, which, yeah, I can see some similarities there. The Volt has a picture that says, quote, leftism, the religion of self-hatred, it teaches white people to hate their race, boys to hate their sex, women to hate their femininity, Americans to hate their country, Westerners to hate their history. What a loathsome, poisonous thing that is. Leftism is a hate group, getting 17 likes. Florida 1 says, quote, they're getting paid to protest. Now you understand, getting 54 likes. Least significant bit also says, why not protest Gavin Newsom? He has a far greater influence on what happens in California than President Trump, getting 18 likes. True. But of course, they don't. instead of blaming the person who has one of the biggest impacts on your state, yeah, they just they'll blame Trump. Kind of like Chicago. If you live in Chicago, you have nothing to complain about in terms of Trump. I mean, that's probably the best example of, in terms of local governance and state governance, being Democrat for almost 100 years. Like, you get what you vote for in Chicago. But I'm sure there'll be a safe, great place to live next year, like the Chicago Bears. Haha, sports pun. The last time the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl, they saved the pictures to a floppy disk, which I think is cool, but most people would say is an archaic medium for saving data that is only nowadays representative when you save something in Microsoft Word. The save icon is a floppy disk. Fun fact of the day, that also dates and ages me. You have Phoenix 2A saying, quote, I love the heroin addict bruises she got as an extra, and 38 likes. Ray says, the amount of globalist cash subsidizing worthless people in progressive cities is astonishing, getting 12 likes as well. Ingush Singh says, quote, only Zoran Mariami can make America great again. There's a New York Post article and says, the price is white. And there's a picture of Zoran and says, Mariami says white neighborhoods should pay higher property taxes, getting 5 likes. Black Dumpling says, quote, look at how smug she is about living off the rest of us like a parasite, getting 27, let's make it 28 likes. Yeah, that's another huge culture shift we see in the United States. I mean, it is probably a little bit cliche because it's a movie. What an exceptional film is Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe. And he does actually go on temporary government assistance back in the day during the Depression. And once he made it, actually, got back on his feet, he actually paid the government back. Because back then, there was really barely any of a sense of entitlement. When you were given money by the government, you felt it was your duty to pay them back. Nowadays, geez Louise, the amount of people, not only on entitlements, but have that mentality of, oh yeah, I should just get free stuff, is quite concerning and astonishing. Now, you also have Caroline says, quote, he's telling that some folks have nothing better to do than protest Trump all day while his supporters are busy working and building stronger America. The man's policies, tax cuts, deregulation, and America First trade created jobs and opportunity before. He will do it again. Sad to see people wasting their lives on MSNBC fueled outrage instead of contributing something positive, getting 27 likes. Yep. Let's see. Myself says, quote, well, not just me. The profile, in fact, is named myself, hashtag Boston.con, saying, quote, hard to get a job when you have a mentally deranged when you are a mentally deranged liberal, getting 3 likes. Magus Fix profile says, quote, Trump needs to cut federal funding to California and let them fend for themselves. If the people were working, they wouldn't be out causing mischief, getting 10 likes. Yeah, it's interesting to see how many subsidies states get. How much did Gavin Newsom spend on illegals' health care? And then they tried to fix homelessness, and they lost allegedly $26 billion. Just couldn't account for it in California. Tried to help the homeless, had nothing to show for it, except that money disappeared. Billions of dollars, jeez. But yeah, I'd love to see a poll. I can't but think, yeah, most people who are protesting on a random day, mostly all unemployed. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comments. Great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.